Welcome to my channel, Princess Petals and Fairy Dust Florals. Oh, my head's not showing all the way. Hold on a hot minute, let me fix this. Huh. There you see my fancy hat. Okay, look what came in the mail. I'll put a link down below where you can know where to order it. Down below, subscribe and like my videos, and if you have anything you would like to see as far as designs, shoot me a message and we will put that in one of our next design episodes. Today we're going to be doing a monochromatic Biedermeier bouquet. According to the AIFD guidebook, I'm going to read you the definition of monochromatic. Monochromatic color harmony, a color harmony composed of tints, tones, and or shades of one hue, and which may include achromatic colors. Achromatic colors. So today's bouquet is going to be all yellows because I think yellow is such a happy color. Also, a Biedermeier bouquet, let me give you the correct definition term for that, because as I'm teaching all of my students, I want them to be familiar with all the correct terminology. In addition to that, I am once again in the process of going through the AIFD certification process. I started it 10 years ago, actually 15 years ago, and then life happened, got me distracted, and I went down another route as far as business. But regardless, floral is my passion. I know flowers. I do what I know, as we all should. Do what you know and love it. Let me flip to Biedermeier bouquets. I know what it is. It's just rows and rows of different flowers, but let me get the correct term. The Biedermeier bouquet is something that not all brides would necessarily use. It's a very different, but it's beautiful as far as bouquets. So the Biedermeier bouquet, the correct terminology from AIFD is a rounded or conical floral arrangement similar to the nosegay, the name for a German style of interior design of the early 1800s. A Biedermeier design is typically created with compact spiraling or concentric circles, each featuring a particular flower or color with virtually no negative space. I just love yellow because I think it's very happy, although all shades of purple are my favorite. But today, yellow. Okay, here we go. These bouquet holders come pre-constructed with a plastic cage dome over top of the oasis. I, however, have already used this once in one of my classes, and because I am a firm believer in reusing what I already have, I have gone and clipped off, and I clip off the dome cage anyway, just because I like to have as much real estate as possible when constructing my bouquets. And that plastic dome, I will show one in a picture that scrolls across your screen, that I feel like once I take that off, that's just all the more oasis real estate I have to work with, and that's what I ultimately want, is to have more space for my stems to go into the oasis. So I clip that off. If it comes up loose, I will go in and glue it. This one is kind of loose, but I've wired it down with a thin wire. Probably it's a number 20 or 22 gauge wire. Remember, the higher the gauge number, the thinner it is, and the lower the gauge number, the thicker it is. So I've got that, I've had that pre-soaking in water, so my oasis is actually all ready to go. I have a fancy, you know, bouquet holder, but I know not everybody has one, so I'm just put a few rocks in a cup, and there you go. If you have a vase that's about the size of this, you can put that in there. Also, a bud vase will hold it perfectly well. So anything you have at home that can hold it, that's what you'll want to hold it with, so it stays up firm, because this top is going to get top heavy. And now I'm going to pre-clip all my flowers. Today I'm working with roses, daisies, Solidago, and Crispedia. I think I said that right. Crispedia. Let me double look and make sure I'm saying that right. But regardless, I liked all of those flowers because they were different textures, but they are all yellow. And so we're going to do that monochromatic look. When working with Solidago, another little trick of the trade, you know, these are these long stems. If you just take up here, start at the beginning of where you want to have your bloom, and you just slide it off, and there you've got a clean stem. I'm actually going to clip this shorter to go in this bouquet, but just want to show you that little trick. Don't forget to take off the you know, the ugly guard petals on your roses. Those again are the petals that are curly up around the edges there, and most of the time they're bruised, so with these you definitely want to take them off. Yeah, there you go. Something I also wanted to show, since this is kind of loose, you can actually go in and glue that down in there, and that's probably what I should have done to start with. So now I'm going to need to go in with my glue gun and shove some glue down in there just so it's really secure, because, you know, that's how I like doing my arrangements, is very secure. Something I also tell my class is, if you're in the industry and you're having to, you know, snap all these guard petals off, save them, because if you have a bride that's requested rose petals, if you've had a bride that's requested rose petals, here you go. Instead of, you know, charging our full price for a whole rose head, which I have done that before too, snap off the rose petals and you can charge her half price. Save her a little money, but you're still making money. And plus, I'm always use as much of the flower as you possibly can. So snapping those off, but I'm definitely going to use them for the bride. So here we have, I'm just going to start, I've already glued that down, and I'm just going to start making a ring, a collar around my entire outside of my oasis. And for this, you're definitely going to cut your stem shorter, because you want to use as less oasis as possible when putting your blooms in. See, now you're going to start with your next row, and I've thought about putting my next row as my daisy, but I think I'm really liking the Solidago, so I'm going to put that in. A Biedermeier is just rows on top of rows of one flower, one different flower on each row. I'm just going to speed it up and show you the next row. And there we've got the next row. And then my last row right on top, I'm going to put these cute little yellow balls, the Crispedias. And there we have our Biedermeier Monochromatic bouquet. Now, as y'all all know, I'm a stickler for covering my mechanics and just giving my customer a very refined finished product. If you look underneath here, to me, that is horrendous looking. So I would never send a bouquet. I am next going to show you how we're going to make this pretty. I have put the glue pellets in my glue pan, and you want to turn it up about the halfway mark there. If you turn your glue pan on and it starts to kind of smoke, you've got your pan turned up too high, and you will definitely want to turn it down, or else you're going to start a fire, set off the fire alarms. So you just want it high enough that it's going to melt the pellets. And I am melting pellets because on the back side here, we are going to put leaves, green leaves, but we're going to glue them down. Just because I like to have a very pretty finished underside for floral designs. And if you're in the floral industry and competing, you're definitely going to want to have all your mechanics covered up, and that's part of it. So while my glue pan is heating up, I'm going to show you what I'm going to do with the green leaves. So here we go. I've got this greenery, and I'm not even sure of the name of this greenery. I know pretty much all of them, but this one, it's a waxy leaf, and that's really what you want, is to have a waxy leaf. I'm going to clip these off, and then you're going to want to just cut it in half like that. And to save time, I pluck them all off, line them up, and do one snip instead of doing one snip at a time. There you go. Then I've got a bunch of them. Let's just being more efficient. And I am smoking. So let me turn my glue pan down some. I don't know if y'all can see the smoke rising here, but if you hear the alarm going off, you'll know why. Okay. Next, what I'm going to do is take this. I'm going to turn the camera down so you can see. The next thing we're going to do is add ribbon to the bottom of the handle because it makes it look more clean and crisp as far as your mechanics go. And I am going to use this blue ribbon. And I chose the blue because something borrowed something blue. So I'm going to just speed it right along, and you can see how this turns out. Now I've got that secured on there, and get the glue strings off my fingers. The last thing I want to do is I've put one on here. If you can see underneath here, I can still see some of my oasis and the holder there. I don't like that. I like to have everything absolutely covered up. I'm going to go in and put a row of daisies to stay within that Biedermeier theme. So there, I've gone underneath. I have put a row, just slightly, whoops, this one's falling out. Woo! There we go. So now I've got glue strings all over me. And if y'all saw me doing this in the speed up, you can take a wire or a floral pick, and this is how we just add just tiny dabs of glue. Have a piece of my ribbon that wants to not stick. So there we go. Right there I have that row to stay with my Biedermeier theme. The next row is the roses. The row on top of that is the Solidago. Then another row of daisies, and then my Crispedia on top of that. And this is a monochromatic Biedermeier bouquet. If I wanted to go back in and add any kind of detailing on the stem, I could definitely do that. The next thing I always do is I always make the boutonniere match the bride's bouquet. When you're making boutonnieres, you just have to remember these are just tiny miniature bouquets. Miniature bouquets. I'm actually using all my scraps, and what I want to do is because these are just two, I want to take together. Remember, when you're using floral tape, it's just like electrical tape. it gets sticky as you pull it taut. So the more you pull it taut, the stickier it gets. And there. Now I need a little stem on that, so what I'm going to do is add a wire. And these are probably the smallest of the smallest gauge. So what I did is I bent it over, and now I'm going to tape that together. And here I have a stem. And the reason you would put a wire on your stem like that is so that you can manipulate the shape of it when you're doing a corsage or a boutonniere. Now we are going to get a small bloom for the boutonniere, just because guys don't like wearing flowers too much. So I've chosen like a bloom. It's not quite open yet all the way. And next I want to do is I want to take my smaller wire. You want to take your wire, it can be I wouldn't say the smallest gauge or the highest gauge. I would say probably a medium. I don't have any mediums with me, so I'm using a smaller one. But you want to pierce it right there in the calyx. And then I'm going to want to wire, not wire, and then you're going to want to tape it. And you want to start taping it all the way up at the edge of the calyx, where the calyx and the stem meet. And again, to get your tape to stick, you pull it tight. You want it nice and taut, because if you let it loose, you're going to have a lot of ripples, and you don't have to tape the entire wire, but there we go. You saw in my speed up there, I had taped up 2 pieces, and I thought, oh, okay, I'm gonna put one down here. I'm not really liking it down there. I just like it with one bloom, and the greenery. So, I mean, one bloom, your Solidago that I taped together, and my greenery. Now, you can just clip the stem and use it just like that. And a lot of florists will send it out like this with the little boutonniere pin. I, however, always like my bride to match the groom, so I usually put ribbon around the stem. And my glue isn't hot. Hold on. This is Candy. She's actually my daughter's dog, but she lives with me. Because as you know, when your children leave home, they leave stuff behind. And she left this behind. What I'm going to do now is put a little glue there, because I am going to wrap my stem in the same glue that I wrapped the bouquet stem. And there we have the little boutonniere that's going to match the bridal bouquet. A little bit of trivia for you. This little hole that's on the lapel of a men's jacket is actually the boutonniere hole. And you will want to just slide the stem right into that hole and then pin it on the back side. Since I have the decorative wrapping on the stem of my boutonniere, you can always let it stay out so that that blue actually shows. And there we have it, a monochromatic Biedermeier bouquet. with a matching boutonniere. Tune in next time for our fun floral demo. Like and subscribe below. I'm putting the links to where you can find the glue pan, glue pellets, and ribbon. So tune in next time and sparkle on!